Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to season 2, episode 5 of Unmuted. Thank you guys for tuning in. To each and every single one of you that's tuning in live, look at all these beautiful people. Sandy, 321 Blast Cobra, Belfagor, Craggers, Ahmed Khalil is in the house, Bone Driven Mind. You guys are all coming out to party. How's it going, you guys? Welcome to this very, very special episode of the podcast. I'm super excited to have our guest on today. You guys know that because this is live, if you do have any questions, there's a little question redeem. We'll turn it on when the time is right, and we're gonna be hanging out for a little bit while after the podcast is over. So stick around, and it's good to see you guys here. Our guest is Peter Tägtgren. I'm gonna ask him about the last name when he comes in here, but. You guys know exactly who it is. Pain, Hypocrisy, Lindemann has been a legendary figure in the metal scene. Whether it was in front of it on stage, I was going to say in front of the camera. I'm so used to the cameras. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Whether it was him on stage or behind the scenes producing the bands, has been an integral part of the scene. So we're going to hit the intro and get Peter in here. You guys ready? I want to see someone say, I want the chat to explode. Just be like, we're all ready. Bring some fire up in the chat. That's how we do it. Hell yeah. Hit the intro. Peter, welcome to the show.
Hey, cheers everybody. How you doing? Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you for being here. It's an absolute honor. I've been a little nervous, a little excited, a little bit of everything. As you can see, the people in the chat can control my lights and do a bunch of things on screen. So they're throwing up the drinks and throwing up the party lights. But
perfect. What's up, everybody?
First question is, how are you? How have you been?
I'm good. How I've been? Very good. It's been. When the COVID closed down, like in the beginning of 2020, I just took a long rest for a half a year, and then I started cleaning up things I had on my shoulders, fixing the new Hypocrisy, also this next project that I'm working on, and even got 2 Pain songs out. So I just needed a little bit of rest, and I think I'm back to start working again.
So that's where kind of where I wanted to kick things off is about 6 months before the world lost its mind and everyone was in lockdown. Hypocrisy came to Dubai for the very first time, to the Middle East for the very first time, as far as I know, and it was a huge milestone for not only for the band but for the scene here to have a band of that stature kind of come and play a show here. And then all hell broke loose after that. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly. Because we had more plans, to come back again with Pain and stuff. So it is what it is. But hopefully things will open up a little bit. So maybe we can come back. I mean, we're ready for sure.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about we're a Middle Eastern based podcast here. We're based in Dubai, and I want to ask you about the perception of the Middle Eastern metal scene, if you had any at all before coming here. How was your information about the Middle Eastern metal scene back then?
I know there's some really good bands there. Unfortunately now I'm starting to think about the name, but it's like anyhow. I know there's a lot of good bands out there from the Middle East, and a lot of fans as well. They came from far away to Dubai when we played, and it was such an honor, to get as close as possible, to everybody. Doesn't matter which part of the world, but for us, it was definitely the first time in the Middle East, and we understood also we have fans there as well. So, for me, it was a great time, and I really hope we can come back.
It's the best explanation I've heard so far is Dubai is kind of like our own little mini Vakken, where where the Middle East kind of flocks to the shows here because it's allowed? Because in Lebanon, it's a Sepultura get canceled, all that stuff. Jordan, it's a mess, and the entire Middle East kind of flocks to this one city to play shows and watch bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Dubai is amazing. It's like science fiction when you go there. It's so different from a lot of places. I mean, for me, there's like 3 places in the world that really blows my mind. It's like just the way they look. It's like Tokyo, it's Dubai, and it's Las Vegas. These 3 cities are just like, wow. It's so different from any other places in the world. Yeah,
I remember when you guys were here, you got to experience some of the touristy stuff. You guys went out with the promoter at the time, Josine. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, this episode was made possible by Josine. So a massive shout out to Jabba and all those guys. Is it what you would have expected? Do you think back then?
We didn't know what to expect, to be honest. Since you've never been there, you only see pictures and stuff like that. But we got really good taken care of. We went to safaris, we went to boat cruises, we went to really good restaurants, and got the culture. And for us, it was just super great. He's a good host. Not only a good guy to put on shows. He's also a good guy, a good friend. Shout out
to Jabba. And you briefly said that before the lockdowns, before the world lost its mind, kind of thing. You were looking forward to doing more in the Middle East, and Pain would have been something that you would have liked to see here. Is there a difference between playing shows and touring as Hypocrisy versus Pain? I've always wondered that. Like, is there a different energy when it comes to the 2 different bands?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think I'm pretty lucky that I have a lot of Hypocrisy fans. Not a lot, but I have Hypocrisy fans that likes Pain as well, and also the opposite. So it's only like out on each side. Maybe the more extreme fans, they don't like Pain because for them it's maybe too girlish, or whatever you want to call it, too poppy or too disco or whatever. But on the Pain side, all the way on the end, Hypocrisy is too extreme for them, so they can't listen to it. So, but somewhere in the middle there, I feel like I have a lot of comment fans there. Live, it's a little bit different, I would say. Of course, Hypocrisy has a little bit more crazy crowd, with the mosh pits and stuff like that. Yeah. Pain, I would say you have a lot more girls in the crowd. I guess it's because it's more commercial. So, but other than that, I mean, for me, I don't care which band I'm standing up on stage with. It's just the energy that you get from the crowd. That's so great.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about you in a way where it's almost. I think you even used this word when we talked about how you segregate the 2 different creative outputs for you. You said it's almost schizophrenic, where it's like 2 different people at parts, where the guy that writes for Hypocrisy is almost not the same guy that writes for Pain. Is that still ringing true?
Nah, I mean, it's still me, and I mean, I like all kinds of music. Anything from super extreme metal to Frank Sinatra or Shania Twain or whatever, and everything in between there. So for me, the first time I started with Pain was because I had new ideas in the mid 90s, and you could hear that on the Abducted album, the 2 last songs. It was actually something I just did on the side because I started to discover I can write more stuff than just death metal at that time, and I didn't want to screw up Hypocrisy, how it sounded. So I wanted to do a different band. So a little bit like that. That's how Pain came up. And also, of course, I wanted to produce bands that use computers and samplers and stuff like that. And so I had to create Pain just to be able to do that, because I had no other bands. It was just mainly death, thrash, and black was recording with me, and there was no drum loops or anything that still isn't. So So that's the main reason with Pain. And after that, it just started becoming fun to write something different.
With the plethora of bands that you've produced, you've seen some bands from the very beginning, like a bunch of bands were up and comers up until they became headliners. Do you feel like as a producer you are vested in those guys? Like, do you watch their growth? Do you like seeing them their journey and what they go on to do after that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm proud. It feels like you're some kind of a, the fifth member or sixth member. I mean, we saw with Dimmu Borgir, I never heard of them before they came to my studio, and as we were recording, I was like, oh, this is not bad at all, And then when it came out, it just exploded everywhere. And so, I mean, also Amon Amarth came to me because they had some problems in the other studio, so they just took a chance. Oli called me and it's like, hey, can we record with you? We're at this studio and it's all messed up and blah blah blah. So they recorded their first mini album with me, I think, and you see where they are now. It's great to see all these bands. And also I had the opportunity to do like reunion recordings as well in the 90s and 2000, and the latest one was the latest Possessed album. The last one was out 87 or something like that. It was a long time ago, so it was great to do this reunion kind of thing. I mean, it's only Jeff left, but still, same with Celtic Frost in mid 2000s. That was also something great to be a part of, and Destruction. So I mean, there's been so many cool bands I've been able to work with, and I feel really that I'm lucky.
So going from working with bands to writing, recording, tracking, mixing yourself, are you harder on bands or on yourself as a producer?
I think I'm harder on myself. I mean, I know, I usually know how much you can push a musician, to do the best drum track he can do, or guitarist or vocalist or whatever. But when it comes to myself, I don't know how far to push myself. I know I get like sometimes aggravated, depressed, when I can't do what I have my mind set to. So it's easier to produce other bands for sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Well, obviously I'm no producer myself, but the idea of turning that mirror 100% back on yourself as a performer, and then stepping outside, to me that's mind-boggling.
I mean, you sit in the studio and you just creating things, and a year later you're standing on stage and playing that song. That's fantastic, to sit with a shell of nothing. Most of the stuff I do always comes up in my mind. I don't sit with a guitar or keyboard or anything when I write. I write the riffs in my head or melodies, and then I go to the studio and lay it down. So and then I just start building around it, and all of a sudden you have a song. So for me, that's still interesting after all these years. I'm not so interested on selling or what people think left and right, what's in and what is not in. I just really amazed how a little melody in your head can just bring up so much emotions. You see reactions as well, but first of all, it's for yourself.
We have a little made up word in my band. We call it demotia, when the demo is 1,000% stuck in your head, that if anything during the recording process or anything changes, it sounds completely wrong because we're so attached to the demo. Does that still apply when the riff is written in your head?
No, but when you do demos and then you set out to, okay, now I'm going to record everything, now I'm going to set the sounds and blah, blah, blah. Usually the demos comes out better than the actual songs when you do it for the album, unfortunately. I think you dare to do much more stuff on a demo, and when you're doing an album, you get kind of stiff. I think, you're more like concerned that, it has to be good and it has to sound like this. Sometimes sloppy demos, really untight and whatever, gives it a better feeling, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine that being the case.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you polish the song or the songs too much for the album, so it kind of loses its soul. So I'm really, it's the same thing when I produce bands and they send me pre-productions, and they always ask me, hey, what do you think? What do you think? I didn't listen yet. And they call back again. It's like, did you listen now? No. I wait till the last moment before you go into the studio, like a week before I start listening to the songs. And I only listen once because the first impression lasts.
Yeah.
If I listen more and more and more and more, the things I thought was wrong at the first time listening, they will kind of disappear, So I rather keep it very fresh with the pre-production, because then I know exactly this is wrong. You should do like this, blah, blah, blah. And then you start recording the song, and then you go to the next song from the demo or pre-production, and you do the same thing again. Because if you listen too much, you get used to it.
Yeah. I read somewhere, or maybe I heard it somewhere, where you said, I do everything half good instead of one thing really good.
Yeah.
And I was curious when I heard that, if you were to introduce yourself for the very first time, what instrument or what line, because you do a lot of fucking things at the same time, what would you introduce yourself as? What's the title?
Drummer, I would say. So, that's how I started. And I guess that's, how my son started as well. And I see now he's moving away from that. He's sitting and playing more guitars and stuff like that. And he's writing music as I did as well. So I guess it's good to be a drummer, when you build songs and things. I think it has a little advantage. I'm not a good guitarist. I'm not a good bass player. I'm not a good keyboard player or whatever. But I guess, I don't feel like practicing. When I was a kid, I used to practice 6-8 hours a day on drums and stuff till I got to a certain point, and then it wasn't good. It was not good enough because I couldn't write music with my drums. So I started playing guitar. So whatever I wrote, that was what I could, do on a guitar. And it's sometimes still today, I try to keep it very minimal because I'm afraid to change my style of writing music. If I become too good, maybe get too complex and too weird. So I'd rather have it very simple. I think I love simple music, like AC/DC. There's nothing better, for me. So that's really how I think, and I hate practicing, so it's not gonna happen.
You mentioned your son. Is how is working with Sebastian? Because going from a producer that's done a ton of bands and you've done your own work, I have a 1.5-year-old. I'm brand new to the game, but I can't comprehend the idea of being able to work with your kid. How's that been so far?
Yeah, it's really science fiction in the beginning. I remember first time we played together on stage. We just jumped in as special friends because it was a band who had a release party. So they asked if I could play 5 songs, like 3 Hypocrisy songs and 2 Pain songs. And I'm like, yeah, but Jorge is in Norway and blah, blah, blah. And my kid was like 13 or 14. And he's like, I'll do it. So I said, okay. So that was the first time we worked together. He was sitting and putting on the backtracks for the keyboards on like Fractured Millennium or whatever, things like that. And he was clicking and let's go, and that's how we started first. And then when he was 17 or something like that, 18, when I did Coming Home, I asked him if he wanted to put drums on there because he's so good drumming. For me, it's easier to sit behind the glass and record someone instead of I have to program, run into the drums, and then sit and play it. And if I fuck up, I have to do it again. So it's easier to have another drummer. And since Sebastian is a very good drummer, he had a great time. And then I said, now you're ready to go on tour. So he was actually 18 when he went with me on the Pain tour for Coming Home. We did like 4 or 5 tours on that one. So and also I brought him in to Lindemann, so he played drums on that live. And so, it's a hell of a drummer, that's for sure.
Was he on? Party in My Head? This last single that you guys released. I want to talk a little bit about that because I find it funny that we're talking on a Zoom call. And in that video, it's exactly what you're talking about. This new reality that we've come to know. Can you give us a little bit about how that song came to be?
Yeah, we had a hour because he said that word. So it was magic. It just went very fast, and I wrote what I felt over these lockup days and shit. So it just came natural. It's no Einstein lyrics. It's just pure fact, I would say. And with the music, I just put it on afterwards. I wrote the melody afterward, and then I put on the basic tones under the melody and the vocals, and swoosh, I had a song.
Now, for those that have seen the video, there's a bunch of Easter eggs in there, a couple of throwbacks, and it felt very appropriate. I don't know if I'm reading too into this as a fan, but like it felt like the natural arc of things to go. That all the, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it, but those Easter eggs were there. At least the milk carton for those that saw that little snippet. Was that intentional?
Yeah, it was the manager's idea to put in all these Easter eggs and RQ codes and small things here and there. So it made it a lot more interesting to watch, because you discover something new all the time. And why not do that? Instead of just doing a straight video. So it was fun. And, we brought back some things 20 years ago with pain video. So that's cool. I'm not going to spoil it either. So
you guys got to go check it out. It's up on YouTube. And what we're going to be doing right after we finish these last couple of questions with Peter is we're going to be doing a deep dive into the discography. We're gonna be checking out a bunch of your discography, just listening to it on stream and letting people kind of see the arc of everything. So I'm very, very excited to have that happen as well.
Cool.
We have some questions from the tribe, from the people in the chat right now. The very first one is from Jake E. He asks, who's your favorite pyrotechnician apart from David Wallen? Jake E was also on the podcast, Jake from Syra, obviously, and ex-Amaranth.
I don't have too much experience of the pyro. The only experience I have is, of course, with Rammstein and Kiss. So I don't know. I really don't know. Whoever presses on both these bands, they do a pretty good job.
Those are the guys. All right.
Those are the guys.
Those are the guys. Tristan is asking, what was it like working with Children of Bodom? Rest in peace, Alexi Leho.
It was great. I mean, me and Alexi, we've been friends for a long time. We took them to the first tour they ever did in '98, I think. And till today, I mean, like before he passed, he said, like, this is always going to be my favorite tour because it was so new for them and we took care of them and we had a great time. And I mean, I did also, not only Follow the Reaper, but also Blood Drunk, but only vocals for Blood Drunk. And we had such a great time. It was insane. I mean, during the day they were working in the studio, I don't know, mixing or something like that. During the night, me and Alexi, we got drunk and then we started with vocals. And sometimes we came back the next day, we listened to the stuff and we're like, holy shit, it sounds good. But, we couldn't remember the whole session through every day. And we did that for like, I don't know, a week or something like that. And then we were like, okay, we have one song left to do. Okay, so let's do this. And we checked it out and we already put on vocals and we were like, what? We couldn't even remember. So
you partied into the vocal take.
Oh yeah, and it was just me and him just talking shit. And I mean, afterwards, that as well. You know, if I play in Helsinki, he shows up, or sometimes I just fly over there and we just hang and just talk shit. So it was great. It's too sad, you know.
Absolutely. We have, speaking of the partying days, I think this might be a deep dive question from Belfagor. This seems like it's a party question. Does Peter still drink Listerine? Not sure.
Yeah, there was some crazy commercial someone was doing with this Listerine shit. If I don't have to, I don't. I don't know. I guess I was very drunk and someone just pulled up a Listerine bottle in my face and they were filming. So yeah, there you go.
That's how it happened. Okay. I was wondering where that came from, but I thought it might be one of those deep dives that they know something that a lot of people might not know yet.
No, I think it was more like an inside joke from the old owner of Nuclear Blast, Marcus. He was possessed by Listerine stuff and he was doing his own commercials. He was crazy. I mean, like, I don't know, 50 or 100 commercials, but they never wanted them. But he had a fixed idea with this shit, you know, and he tried with me as well then. So it's crazy.
Well, there you go, Belfagor. I don't think you could find a clearer answer than from the man himself. And
I don't think I ever answered it.
Exactly. The very last question from the tribe is from Blast of Cobra. Any bands you would like to work with in the future?
Not really. I have no idea right now. My mind is blank. I don't know. Maybe it would be good to give Metallica a good sound. No, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, these things I never planned in my past either. So sometimes you get an email or a phone call and then you go, okay, that's a good idea. Yeah. And you do it. Or if you have something else booked in at the same time, you know, that happens as well.
There you go, guys. And the very, very last question, Peter. I know everyone tries to end on what's on the future and what's going on, what's going to happen in the future. But I like to end with a time machine question. All right. If you had a time machine and you were able to go back in time before Pain, Lindemann, Hypocrisy, before the tours, before the Abyss Studio, and talk to young Peter, just give him either a piece of advice, let him know something from the experience that you've had throughout the years. What would you tell young you? I
would say, if you're gonna sign anything, get a lawyer. That's what I would first say.
Yeah, that's solid advice.
Yeah, and things like, oh, but this guy is cool. He's really great. Yeah, but you have no fucking clue what an asshole he is. Okay. So that will be the next thing. And I mean, for me, I know I did a lot of mistakes, especially business-wise. You know, I mean, nothing major, billions and billions, but you know, I did some stupid shit, and now trying to get it back in one way or another, and it seems to work. But yeah, I would definitely advise myself to have a good lawyer, you know, and pay him once or twice, you know, when they do something for you, because it's worth every penny. So anyone who's going to sign shit or something, try to find a lawyer, but a lawyer who works with music. Yeah. You know, not a divorce lawyer or whatever, you know, you have to have someone that knows the business.
We've definitely had this discussion on the podcast before, and there's a ton of musicians in the chat right now from all over the world, up and coming bands to established bands to band managers. I see Julian in the chat. You guys, this is solid advice. You guys definitely need to get a lawyer.
You will be sorry. You will be sorry if you didn't. Seriously, it will cost you maybe $500 or maybe $1,000 if it gets a little bit weird, but that you will definitely have back.
Yeah, and to end it on a bit of a higher note, when are we going to hear some of the new Hypocrisy and new Pain stuff? When's that going to happen? Can we sneak anything?
I would say for me, it's like we're still waiting for Nuclear Blast. The album is delivered a long time ago, not a long time ago, but 4 months ago, and I think the first single will come out end of August. That's amazing. Pretty much as I know right now.
Yeah.
And the album for sure before this year is ended. So somewhere in November, I would say. So and it's gonna kick your ass. It sounds
hell
Hypocrisy.
Hell yeah. Absolutely, dude. Peter, thank you so much for your time. It's
No problem.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You're legendary. You've been this side of the world has been fans for a very long time.
Woo!
And
Thank you.
having you, not only come to the Middle East to play shows, but on this podcast and having the time to sit down and talk has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Hey, actually, I was in Dubai in October just to hang out for a week because I liked it so much. So we went there for a vacation. So.
Oh, dude, if you're back here, we're doing a podcast in life, in real person.
We can do that. No problem.
All right, this
But I hope
has
we
been
can
awesome.
be back. I just hope we can be back with Pain next time, and then maybe come back again with Hypocrisy. So
You guys,
it's all up to your promoter. Talk
yeah,
to him.
Jabber's in the chat right now. Jabber, you know what to do, my friend. You know how to get it done.
Oh, he knows. We were always in contact, but now with this stupid COVID shit, it's not easy to plan anything. So we're on it.
Absolutely. Well, dude, thank you so much. Chat, stick around. We're going to be doing a deep dive into all things Peter. Did I say it right? Did I nail the last name?
Tagtgren. Tagtgren. Yeah, perfect.
Cool, because I suffer from a horrible last name too, so I'm always curious if I get it right.
I tell you, even Swedish people, like when they try to pronounce my last name, they go like Mr. Peter, and then they go. So it's kind of weird name, to be honest, in Sweden as well. So I don't know where the hell it comes from, but it comes from somewhere.
It's unique, and we all know it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it's tradition around here, Peter, to have the guest officially end the episode. So
right.
Whenever you're ready, if you could just say if you could say the words, hit the outro for us to officially end the show.
Yeah. All right, people. Thank you very much for checking this out, and hope to see you everywhere. I don't know, Middle East, dark side of the moon, anywhere. All right, hit the outro.